Good evening, everyone. My name is Danny Nahas, and I'm here doing the final presentation for Management 5355, Industry 2, which is Walk the World. Now, Walk the World is a shoemaking company that specializes in a variety of premium footwear of broad categories, and it is defined by those type of behaviors. Now, I myself, again, my name is Danny. I have experience in the financial field as well as in the mathematics field. I worked as a data analyst and intern for Apex Systems, working with SQL and analyzing trends within mapping applications, and also did a lot of research in finance and in mathematics topics. So what we're going to be doing right now is be discussing the financial performance of Walk the World in respect to other industries and make critiques on how the company can improve in regards to in regards to the future. So we want to make sure how the company can improve its financial standing for the future. Now we're going to go right over here and look at what we can do here. Okay, so the strategic vision of the company is it's dedicated to providing a wide, trusted variety of shoes to individuals of all ages while keeping up with the ever-changing trend of the footwear industry. So Walk the World basically has an idea where they want to market their unique premium variety of footwear to individuals and also be very open to customer critiques and catch on that for improvement. So they want to learn from whatever problems they had in the past and improve upon it. Like have an open ear for critiques and use that as motivation to improve internationally, so that the company will be known as a very down-to-earth company that's not like other companies like Adidas and Reebok that receive a lot of customer complaints but don't do much, focus mostly on corporate interests. Walk the World is premium and at the same time wants to satisfy the customer. So we're going to look at the financial trends over here. And it starts with the strategic group map for year 16. Now, year 16 is the earliest data that we have for this firm. And it consists of an X and Y plot, which is a comparison of firms in terms of their product line breadth on the x-axis and the SKU rating on the y-axis. SKU rating, which is an indicator of premium quality footwear. So as you see over here, firm I actually does pretty well in terms of its quality. So firm I has a product breadth of 400 varieties of footwear, 400 varieties of shoes, to put it more like, specifically. And their SKU rating is pretty good, which means that the company does place a high emphasis on premium and premium footwear, as well as many different types of products to satisfy different types of customers and to lure in many new people who are interested in unique material that they don't often see in the other markets of the industry. And the wholesale price is detailed over here, where the price prepared for the following company is detailed. And company I is somewhere in between. They had a $54 wholesale price in 2016. However, you do start to see some differences as we go on the year 2017, which is the latest year. Now, starting with the wholesale price, it has increased to $58, which is one of the most expensive prices in the industry. This is for the North America wholesale segment. Both of the slides here detail the S&Q rating and the product line breadth for North America, the markets in North America. And in terms of the SQ rating, so company I is still up here in terms of keeping a very high quality rating. It also slightly increased its product line breadth, so it has slightly higher amount of shoes to sell. And this is continuing on its strategic value statement, which is to to attract customers who want to see a different type of a footwear industry, something that they haven't seen in other companies, and this will help boost a positive reputation in keeping up with trends, or perhaps starting a new trend or catching on a new trend and make it popular, and this company will have a lot to do with this type of trend. So there's a lot of brains behind this, but at the same time, the company does want to make sure that it can learn from its mistakes to make the most out of what it can do based on future trends. Now, starting with our financial analysis, the real stuff in regards to this company alone, we look at the trends in net revenues, and as you can see here, the trends in net revenues are measured in thousands. So it started a little above $400 million net revenues in the year 2010, and the net revenues have continued to increase until the year 2014. After that, it continued to stay constant to year 2015, and then made a drop in 2016. So went down to a little under $600 million in the year 2016. And the major culprit in this was because of wholesale revenues. So you see, wholesale revenues were responsible for this major decline because there was, like you see in a lot of companies, negligence or ethics issues that lead to a lot of resignations or certain factors in the industry that just cause the company to have a vicious circle of losing profits and losing sales. So net revenues significantly decrease, and wholesale revenues arguably are the backbone of the industry sales, the skeleton, if you will. And although internet revenues over here have consistently increased since year 11, it was not enough to balance the trade-off, which was much bigger in wholesale revenues. Wholesale revenues decreased much more steeply than internet revenues have increased. Now, the compound annual growth rate between 2010 and 2017 was 3.9%. So this is a measure of the average growth rate. We use a formula to calculate the number of periods in between and the ending price divided by the share price. So it was 3.9% average between 2010 and 2017. And moving on to earnings per shares, as you can see here, the trends in earnings per shares is kind of closely related to net revenues, except there's a short-term element. So from 2011 to 2012, the earnings per share did slightly decrease, even though net revenues over here were increasing. And then from 2012 to 2014, earnings per share reached its highest number in this graph, based on the period studied, to a little over $3 per share. So what this could mean was that the company was making good use of its profits, but not investing a lot into new footwear or new merchandise or materials to continue on this in the long term. So it was currently living off of its profits, but this was short term. As you see, from 2014 to 2016, earnings per share dropped to its lowest point, just a little above 50 cents per share in 2016. That was because what you see over here, net revenues decreased, which means the firm was sharply losing profits, and the analysis over here is that return on equity was at its lowest point of 2.4% in year 16, which meant that the company was down to bare bones in terms of its profits. So the earnings per share was reflecting that. The stockholders were not realizing any gain. They were actually losing profits between 2014 and 2016 because the firm was not making any profits during that time. It was actually starting to lose profits. So this is reflected in the decrease in earnings per share, although it started to increase in 2017 as the firm was making more smart decisions in its investment as well as its sales practices. In the ending stock price is pretty much self-explanatory. It started at $50 in 2011, then decreased to $15 per share in 2016, then slightly increased in 2017 as a result of the slight increases in earnings per share and and ROE in 2017. We continue to go down here, and we start to look at competitor analysis. We look at the competitor which is closest to us, which is Company E, known as Color Me Footwear. And this was the most similar to us in regards to how they operated, in regards to the way they sold their products and the way they operate their industry. So what happened here was that they provided a wide breadth of shoe models. If we can go back to the 2017 strategic group map for the North American wholesale market, you see over here, Company E also provided a very wide breadth of shoes to sell. So a wide product line breadth. And they were among the companies closest to us in this chart, as well as one of the companies that sold it at the highest price, $59, compared to us, $58. So they were among the highest priced companies in terms of, highest priced shoemaking companies in terms of selling products. Now, the ROE was also at a low point in year 16, similar to ours. The EPS of Team E was at one of its lowest points in year 16, and then increased at a similar rate to us by year 17. So we were following a similar trend as Color Me Footwear in year 16 and year 17. SQ rating of Team E was similar to ours, although slightly lower. And the wholesale price per pair is close to ours, indicating premium pricing footwear, so they have a similar mindset, similar sales strategy in regards to their product and how they make profits and how they appeal to customers. Based on everything that we've looked at and the way our competitors act, we believe that the best advice for Walk the World to follow, our company, is to predict improvements of their competitors more actively and accurately. In other words, actively take steps to stem the growth of other industries, prevent them from taking a big amount of market shares by quickly pouncing on their strategies. For example, if they're increasing productions, we need to also increase productions in our markets, relevant markets, to maintain a large share in those markets around the world and capture a share of the markets there to maintain our edge. And at the same time, in certain markets, we should discount footwear, not always premium price or footwear, because some customers they don't afford or they don't get appealed by premium footwear. They prefer discount footwear. So we should also invest in discount footwear and invest also in manufacturing industries that produce these type of materials to appeal to customers interested in discount footwear. And this will also help us gain among customers who prefer these products, not just the customers we currently have, premium-minded customers who look for the products we already have. And from there, we work on our SQ ratings, improving quality across the board, and utilize the production capacity to maximum efficiency, which is what we discussed. New production facilities to produce the same type of wide variety of footwear, and at the same time focus on the types of footwear, the pricing, so that we can capture a decent amount of the market share, the market base, and maintain our edge or even expand it. Now, closing off, we will discuss a summary of lessons learned, which is the fact that you saw in year 2016 how there was a major decrease in return on equity and earnings per share. So we should never neglect a year's worth of planning, because that can be devastating to a firm. We should always keep up with what the firm should do and the market conditions, and also catch up on what other firms in the industry are doing to keep our edge. Strive to satisfy customer expectations so that a long-term increase in ROE and EPS can be realized, so that we not only help our profits, because profits can be a short-term concept, but we also listen to the customer and also provide the type of footwear that would stand out, so that it would keep our security in terms of these important financial indicators that are important to investors. Modify any necessary adjustment is another topic. So in the wholesale marketing front, we want to streamline profits, provide a combination of newer used discount footwear so we can be better at this, and Also, don't make any drastic changes to one financial indicator. So that's the discussion, and